Goloka Vṛndāvanam tat gopya kritam kridam dhama Vṛndāvanantah. Gross matter, subtle matter, the causal ocean, the Brahman effulgence, Śrī Vaikuṇṭha, Dwaraka, the Lord's birthplace, that is Mathurā or Gokula, the areas in Vṛndāvana where Krishna tends his cows, and the areas of gopīs pastimes within Vṛndāvana are all progressively superior to each other. Ati Ascharya Sarvato Asmat Vichitra Śrīmat Rādhā-kuṇḍa Vāti Chakasti Adhyo Bhavo Yo Vishuddha Ati Purnastat Rupa Sa Tadrashanmadi Sarvaha. The most enchanting grove of Śrī Rādhā is much more beautiful than this visible world. It is sanctified and exactly resembles the highest original mood of Sringara-rasa, the conjugal mellow. Anything related to this abode of Radharani certainly bewilders everyone. At that place, Śrī Radha and Krishna enjoy their eternal pastimes in the company of the gopīs by manifesting their eternal characteristics of love that bewildered Cupid and by manifesting wonderful transcendental amorous pastimes. And Prabodhananda Saraswati goes to the next level saying this, alas, even when I am in danger, may I never see the faces of those fools who, due to their own misfortune, attribute faults on the supreme abode of Vṛndāvana. Are they not the object of everyone's ridicule? Continuing, this is from Prabhupada's some purports. The spiritual realm of Vṛndāvana is always spiritual. The goddess of fortune and the gopis are always present there. They are beloved by Krishna, and all of them are equally spiritual like Krishna. In Vṛndāvana, Krishna is the supreme person and is the husband of all gopis and the goddesses of fortune. The trees in Vṛndāvana are wish-fulfilling trees. The land is made of touchstone, and the water is nectar. Words are musical vibrations, and all movements are dancing. The flute in the the flute is the Lord's constant companion. The planet of Goloka Vṛndāvana is self-luminous, like the sun, and is full of spiritual bliss. The perfection of life lies in tasting that spiritual existence. Therefore, everyone should cultivate its knowledge. In Vṛndāvana, spiritual cows are always supplying spiritual milk, but not a single moment is wasted there. In other words, there is no past, present, and future. It's just quite amazing to even for our brain intelligence to uh, understand what is the spiritual world looks like and what are the things over there. Uh, for us to understand, at least through the books, is very important because eventually that's where we all have to end up one day or the other. So it's better to know how the place is. Even though this place has wish fulfilling trees and touchstones, irrespective of how it is, none of those things are used for one's own self satisfaction. It's all used in the service of Krishna. And as we saw through our readings, all we are trying to do here now is to do a rehearsal of how to use the touchstone and the wish fulfilling trees that we may have in our life in service of Krishna. A replica of the spiritual world. In the highest region of Vaikuṇṭha is the spiritual world called Krishna Loka. It has three divisions, Dwaraka, Mathurā, and Goloka. Sri Goloka, the highest of all, is also called Vraja, Goloka, Goloka, Svetadvipa, and Vrindavana. That abode is manifested within the material world by the will of the Lord. It is identical to the original Goloka. They are not two different bodies. The above mentioned dhams are movable by the omnipotent will of the Lord. When Sri Krishna appears on the face of the earth, he can also make his dhams appear without changing their original structure. One should not discriminate between the dhams on the earth and those in the spiritual world, thinking those on earth to be material and the original abode to be spiritual. All of them are spiritual. So one should not consider like that. It's all equal. They are spiritual. The celestial Dwaraka, Mathura, Goloka, and Vṛndāvana have their replicas on earth in the form of the geographical Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vṛndāvana, which are known as their Prakata Prakasha, manifested forms. Here also Krishna is eternally present with Nanda, Yashoda, and the other eternal associate performing his leelas with them as in the celestial Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vṛndāvana. When Krishna descends to the universe, the same Vrindavana descends just as an entourage accompanies an important personage. Because when Krishna comes, his land also comes. Vrindavana is not considered to exist in the material world. Therefore, devotees take shelter of the Vrindavan in India, for it is considered to be the replica of the original Vrindavan. Although appears in the material world, Sri Vrindavan Dhama is not part of the material world. It is eternal and uniquely located beyond the cycle of the repeated creation and destruction of the material. If you have a US embassy and Canada embassy and many embassies in many, many countries, I don't know if you know or not, but the embassy, within the embassy, the rules of the embassy is of that country. So we can't do much of those things, even though US embassy may present in Mumbai or in Chennai or Delhi or wherever it is. But when you enter into that embassy, the rules of that particular country applies. It's quite interesting. Similarly, the Vrindavan, Dwaraka, Mathura, Ayodhya, all these places may appear to be in this world, but they are spiritual. That's quite important to know. It is eternal and uniquely located beyond the cycle of the repeated creation and destruction of the material universes. Sri Vajradha Mandala, the first of all holy places, is situated on top of Lord Anantasesha's centermost hood named Kumud, extending over an area of 168 miles. The Vrajadham is 168 miles. The Brajamandala exists only for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. The Naradhiya Purana explains that at the time of universal dissolution, when the whole universe, including Brahmaloka, becomes inundated, the abode of Lord Krishna, Sri Vrindavan, remains unaffected. Madhuvan, one of the Vrindavan's 12 forests, continues to exist after the flood of cosmic devastation. One more passage we'll read. The Acharya's contribution. Each Acharya has revealed confidential aspects of the holy Dhamma. According to Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhvacharya, the Supreme Lord as Sri Narayana resides eternally in Vaikuṇṭha. Here, the Lord portrays his majestic form, and thus he is worshipped by his devotees in the mood of reverential service, Dhasya Rati. Sri Nimbarka and Sri Vallabhacharya glorify the personality of Godhead as Sri Krishna residing in Goloka Dhama, where the predominating mood is prema bhakti. It was Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, who revealed the deepest secrets of prema bhakti and the special glories of the Lord's personal Dhamma. It was Lord Chaitanya who revealed the ecstasy of intimate attachment to Krishna that culminates in Srimati Radharani's Mahabhava. From Lord Chaitanya, we learn preciously how the sacred Dhamma directly assists in arranging for the loving relationships between the divine couple, Sri Radha and Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami, last paragraph. Srila Rupa Goswami further analyzes these particular graduations of Vrajadhama. Mathura Dhamma is superior to Vaikuṇṭha by virtue of the divine descent there of the spiritual Lord Sri Krishna. Superior to Mathura Dhama is, so Vaikuṇṭha, Mathura Dhama. Superior to Mathura Dhama is Vṛndāvana because it is here that the Lord exhibits his divine Rasa Leela. Superior even to Vṛndāvana is Govardhana because Krishna held it with his finger. But the superior above all of the holy abodes is, who can guess? Vaikuṇṭha, above Mathura, then Vṛndāvana and Govardhana, and above that, the supreme above all holy abode is Śrī Rādhā-kuṇḍa. Because it is here alone that there flows the flood of nectar of prema-rasa that originates in the blissful loving pastimes experienced by Lord Sri Krishna in the unrestricted company of Sri Radha and her most confidential girlfriends. The philosophy of last paragraph. The philosophy of Madhura Prema, as explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is based on this concept of Rasa Tattva, and it finds its highest and most confidential manifestation in Vraja Dhamma. Śrī Vṛndāvana Dhama ki Jai. Thank you. So we learned something about Vrindavan today, a little more about Vrindavan. So our desire is to anchor to be in Vrindavan, ultimately to be the spiritual world. So these things are going to help us as we chant our rounds in this mood, anchoring for Vrindavan Dhamma. Thank you all very much. Let's continue our chanting now. Hare Krishna.